What was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
What up, weirdos? How's everybody doing out there in Weirdo Land?
I had a really horrible day.
Well, I see that you have a beer.
Yes, and it's a really strong one.
It's a strong beer. Why did you have a terrible day, Vicky?
It's just like one of those where the day started off on a low note and got lower.
Well, let's get into it. Let's get behind the psyche of a psychic.
Oh, just, a lot of problems with my mom's estate and my brother and all kinds of stuff going on there. And then I get to work and then there's all kind of stuff going on there. And it went from bad to worse. And then it's raining. So, when you drive in South Florida in the rain, like everybody loses their minds.
Is this kind of like a psychic vent session? I kind of like it.
I need it.
Vent. I think venting's very, very cathartic and necessary. I think some people think venting is the same thing as gossiping, and I disagree with that. For example, if I've got something seriously on my mind, I'm going to unload on our poor sweet Denny's. He's got no shot. He has to take it because he's my best friend. But seriously, you sometimes have to get it off of your chest. If not, you kind of turn into an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to. So that was my session. It's over.
Have a drink. Let's have some fun. Beckett, how are you doing? How's your psyche?
Good. It's been kind of a weird week. I think all this talk of possession and you guys making me watch these horror movies starting to mess with my psyche a little bit. That and this foo-foo beer. It's like a Starbucks beer. Are you
bitching and moaning about the beer already? That's how we're starting the podcast?
Bitch boy Beckett's coming through.
Here, let's switch beers then. I don't want to switch my beer. It's pretty good. And our sweet Denny's, how are you doing? How's your psyche?
I'm chilling. Not much, It's been raining and whatnot.
Yes, the ups and downs of life. It's always a challenge, right?
You can't wear a sweater like that and not be happy.
There was a story out there in the news where this guy did kind of like a Twilight Zone bet. He bet his friend that he could not live in isolation for 30 days. And the deal was if he could live in isolation for the complete 30 days, he would get $100,000. Now, you get to watch, I believe it was TV maybe, and reading magazines, but it was to the point where you could not talk to anybody. And the guy bounced out like 17 days in, he could not finish it. And he said the loneliness was so unbearable that he finally snapped. I did some research on it, and that's the part that kills people is the loneliness. Could you do that? Could you spend 30 days by yourself if you just had a magazine? Let's throw out the computer. Just a magazine, just a notebook, just a book. Your thoughts, and that. Could you do it for 30 days?
$100,000?
Just could you do it?
I could do it for free.
I feel like I could do that for free.
Like I could too.
I just wouldn't want to do it for free.
You just couldn't. You can't talk to anybody for 30 days. Yeah, I could do that.
It kind of sounds awesome.
When I read that, I was like, this guy's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
How can you not do 30 days by yourself?
What kind of magazine?
That's a good point.
We know what kind you would have.
Robot sex magazines. Yeah, we know.
Could be the trend.
Okay, let's go ahead and expand the days here. Could you do 6 months by yourself in a room, book, again, no internet? A room, book.
6 months?
No TV.
So I think it would start getting harder past 2 months for complete isolation. So at 6 months, I think would be very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have to be forced into it to be able to cope with it. If you had like an option to get out of it, any normal person would try to get out of that.
So the guy took a deal. I think he went in X amount of days, and he had to pay the one guy so many dollars. But I don't know. They do those shows where people are stuck in the woods for 30, 60 days. That's got to change you, right?
Yeah, well, so if you're trying to survive in the woods, your priorities shift completely from, having money and cool stuff to just surviving and finding food. So I think if you live that type of lifestyle and you go back to where, we have unnecessary stuff, you probably wouldn't feel
So just so
worth
you know,
it.
for that story, he was kept in a small, completely dark room with nothing but a bed, fridge, and a bathroom. Even with all the resources he needed to survive, he could not last the month. 20 days he negotiated.
Yeah, but look at the conditions. They were different from the ones that you said. I think I would have a hard time because I like sunshine and daylight. And if he was in a dark room, I couldn't have lasted the 30 days.
You
in a
really
dark room.
couldn't, really?
Not in a dark room.
Dark
Nope.
room.
Probably depresses you too much.
No light whatsoever. Beckett, can you do it?
No.
30 days? I think I could do it.
Really in the dark? Nah,
Hell yeah.
that would play with you.
You'd have to have some like strong motivation.
I think if you know the end game is 30 days, that's all you got. Suck it up. You got $100,000 after.
100 grand, yeah.
You can't suck it up?
I can.
Yeah, I mean, in the dark, it would be rough, and you could tap out at any point, just like
Yeah.
him, just like him. Yeah, all right.
Wow.
I mean, I'd at least attempt it.
I think the closer you get, the more willpower you have.
I bet if you practiced it, you could get good at it.
I have no doubt I could do that.
Yeah.
Put me
Alright.
put me in a dark box. Just give me my thoughts. Give me 60 days. I'm in.
Yeah, right. I bet you could.
Well, they do that in prison. You know, they take the
For
prisoner,
sure.
they throw him in solitary confine, as they say.
Yep. It's
For
the worst
sure.
punishment you can give someone.
Yeah, they put you in jail.
Well, I was doing more research. They said loneliness for humans, it really does kill. 90% of humans need some type of interaction, even after 48 hours. You think you're a loner, you at least need to go talk to the gas station attendant and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Or have a dog or a cat or watch
Yeah, that's
birds.
interaction.
Any sort of thing where you have companionship.
I love it.
Was Castaway based on a true story or was it just totally made up?
I believe it was a true story.
It's crazy.
I thought it was fiction.
So even he had to come up with like a fictional character to like keep him sane.
Wilson, he had
Wilson.
to. It could be. I never did any research whether it was real or not.
That was sad.
But
Is the internet down? Because
There
you
you
know
go.
you're the one that's always
That's right.
Googling.
You have to be the. I'm over here researching. Is Castaway a true story? And they say on the internet, it is.
what? Imagine.
No.
Imagine coming back and your wife's remarried and like and you're like, do I even talk to her? I mean, it's been so long. Gosh, that movie's tough. That's
Tough.
a tough movie.
It makes you really mentally
So
conflicted.
some have likened the story to the legendary novel Robinson Crusoe, and it's not hard to see the similarity. It's a
Based
novel?
on Robinson
Come on.
Crusoe. Come
Damn it,
on.
Wilson tricked me.
Yeah,
Alright.
that would be so tough to handle. That whole movie's pretty.
Okay,
pretty solid.
Vicky, you have your soulmate. You love this person more than anything. They're gone for 15 years. They come back. You've moved on with your life. You got a new hot piece of ass you're talking to. Do you throw away the new to get back with the old? You are in love with this man, Vicky.
Right.
You gave up looking like 6 years ago. Though.
He had no idea what was going to happen. He's stuck on an island, damn it. He's been eating conch.
Well, if he was stuck on an island, it really wasn't his fault. And if he's really the love of my life,
You loved him, but this new guy, pretty good dancer, excellent lover.
how much money?
He's you definitely can do delivery anytime you want.
It would cover it.
See, that's where you got me. It's having the food delivered. I don't know. I mean, I honestly can't tell you. I know I waited a really long time for someone and didn't go on with my life.
How long? Let's delve into
Like 7 years.
and why did you
Well,
wait? so-
actually, more than that. If you count from this, I would say I waited. Let me do the math. 14.
Why would you wait so long for somebody who did not show you they wanted to wait with you?
That was just who I loved, and I didn't want to move on.
Love.
I'd rather be with the one that I loved rather than a substitute.
Damn,
I've
Vicky.
I've been waiting 36 years.
For what? Beckett, okay, let's ask you. You the girl, the girl of your dreams. Yeah, same scenario. You are in love with her. She goes missing for 10 years. Let's change the scenario. She escapes a torturous chamber of a terrible serial killer. That's your woman. That's the one you love. But now you're with this new, hot, younger chick. She really tickles your fancy. What do?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit down and see what's up.
Gosh, man.
So you're saying that the girl that was lost for 10 years is my soulmate, and the other one's just like a hot
Like you
girl.
moved on just because
Yeah, because you thought she was dead, but she's not. Now she's in your life.
And she
I think I'm gonna have to
escaped.
go with deep roots.
What does that mean?
This is coming from the man who can't commit.
Oh, Vicky Zing! Vicky Zing! I love it.
I commit. I think that I would probably go with the deeper connection over than if it sounds like what you're alluding to is the new girl's hot and more superficial.
And it could lead to love. You don't know.
It could. It's new. It's fresh.
Basically a castaway situation, Denny's.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, that'd be so tough.
Okay, Jen goes missing.
I hear you.
She's
Comes
gone.
back.
She's gone, man. We're taken style. She's gone for 5 years, and it's year 5, and you're just like, oh man, she's gone.
Well, so she'd have to be gone longer than 5 years.
Wow,
Because I think 5 years you would continue. If somebody went missing, I think you would devote at least 5 years of your life.
You're a good guy, Denny's. I like that.
But yeah, I mean, it would get tough around like the 15-year mark.
15
by
year-
year 8, you might have met somebody else.
And you
or
have the
10.
worst case of blue balls ever.
Yeah, or more so that you're probably
Just-
you're probably so depressed. You're
Just kidding.
you're clutching anything that you can.
I hear you. All right, so you totally turn your back on Jen after 15 years. That's the number. All right, Jen.
That's such a long
Jen,
time.
if you're listening, 15 years for you to be gone.
Well, I mean, at that point, you'd be like,
After the rule is a third of your relationship, right? So if they're gone for a third of your time that you're with that person, that's when it's time to move on.
all right,
5 years, 15 years.
I like it.
Yeah.
So there's a story out in the news. Hawaii is considering lowering the age of smoking to the age of 100. So basically, they're saying
I've seen this.
they're saying we're outlawing smoking. No one can smoke, and their stance is we are saving lives. That's why we're doing it. Obviously, the counter is don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
All right. Round table time discussion. Does the government have the right to say what you can and can't do if it's talking about saving lives? Let's go with Vicky.
I knew you were going to go to me.
Well, you're the educator. You're our credibility.
Oh. Well, okay, like say if you're talking about smoking. The thing that I have about smoking is if you want to go, yes, absolutely, it hurts you. It's going to cause damage. If you are smoking where no one else is affected by the secondhand smoke, it's totally your business. If you are doing anything, vacuum time again.
Couldn't tell.
It's like clockwork.
That's ridiculous.
But if you're smoking anywhere that anybody can come in contact with that smoke, I personally think that like there's been times where kids have been dropped off at school, the door opens, clearly that parent had been smoking in that car with a child.
And you can smell it, and
You
it's
can smell
pretty
it.
rough, yeah.
The backpack smells like smoke. To me, that's child abuse. That's just my definition of child, because you are forcing that child to inhale that secondhand smoke.
I want to get this on record. Quote, if you smoke in a car with a child, that's child abuse.
I think it is.
Okay, I
think it is.
I agree with you on that. You can't be doing secondhand. This ain't 1981.
For sure.
You can't do that shit anymore. It ain't cute. You can't smoke in a car with a kid. It's amazing. I still see people do it too. There was
With
one
windows up.
There was one chick on 95 smoking, puffing away with a kid in the back with the windows rolled up. It's like, what are you
They have
doing?
the air conditioning blasting. You're like, that's not doing anything.
Lady, what are you doing? Beckett, thoughts?
I think that so long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, you should be in the United States to be allowed to do whatever the hell you want. Sexually, physically, drinking alcohol, smoking a cigarette.
If it's consensual, it's all under
if
the
it's
law.
not hurting
Yeah,
anyone.
exactly.
And it doesn't hurt anyone. And my other contingency on it is that you don't later expect the government to pay for it, meaning that you get lung cancer and now you want the government to pay for your health care. Or my insurance, you're in the same group of my insurance plan and my premiums are higher because you want to make bad choices. That's the way I look at it. So if you want to make choices, then you should be lumped into those people and pay your own health insurance, pay a higher rate.
Carpe diem if you shall, but just know when you get that lung kank, we ain't helping you.
Have responsibility.
Is that what you're saying?
Have responsibility for your actions is all I'm saying.
I am a big fan of people who have responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
I don't like when somebody does something. It's like, for example, the burglar that breaks into a house and then he sues
'Cause
the
he falls
person
down the
that
stairs.
he gets the shit kicked out of him, and then he sues them, and then I guess sometimes wins.
Yeah, it's
what
insane.
the hell? What the hell has to happen in a judge's mind or a jury's mind for that? I mean, that is the epitome of victim mentality right there.
Well, they'll make you just so they go through the protocols of law. So even if you know that person like is guilty, if information has to be omitted, which they'll do, like you have to you have to like move on from whatever evidence they proceed with. It's weird. Like you can know you're doing the wrong thing, but by law you're doing the right thing. It's a weird. It's weird to put people in that type of situation in the jury.
Well, it's kind of like what they did in New York. They were saying, they're trying to ban soda. You can't ban soda. You're gonna try to tell me that I can't buy a Mountain Dew when I want to? Take that and stick it. You shitting me?
I'm with Beckett. I feel like you can't. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You should be allowed to do anything.
I agree, man.
I totally agree with you. You may give me pushback on this, but the one thing that I will qualify on the soda thing is they were just limiting the size of the sodas that they were selling.
Don't give a shit. Don't tell me how much soda I can drink. I'm a big boy.
But you can fill it up twice, but just...
Don't give a shit. It's semantics. Now you're just trying to throw a judgmental thing at me because you're saying, how dare you drink soda? Take that and stick it.
Well, in Florida, we don't sell 40s. You can't
I know.
You can't buy 40.
40 ounces.
You can only buy a 32,
32.
right? You have to go
Yeah.
across Georgia line to get a 40-ouncer because they're saying like a serving, like if you have a 40-ouncer, you're going to drink 40-ouncer. So what they're saying with soda is look at New York and how much their healthcare system has to pay for people with diabetes, obesity, everything like that.
For
These construction workers go and fill up their big gulps of just basically literally 300 grams.
Is this
of
Heartburn?
sugar.
Damn it, Beckett, going after the big gulp community? That's shitty. The big gulp community.
I just think it should be like...
that makes up 80% of our podcast.
I think it should be a smaller gulp.
Oh, get out of here! It's like people that
Should be a big sip.
that want to try to sue McDonald's because they're giving them too many calories.
For sure.
Be responsible for your own actions. If you want to drink a big gulp, drink a big gulp. Now I agree. If you are doing things that is so over the top and you are creating your conditions, I understand the complaint of why you would not want to.
Even McDonald's took away the supersize based off
Stupid.
that documentary.
Dumb, stupid. It's dumb. People want the supersize. People go to McDonald's for the supersize. They're not going to McDonald's for a fucking salad.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. All right, Denny's, give us some random facts.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Don't blow it.
So I know I got to come off of last week here.
As always, Vicky will be grading you your random facts. You're right. Last week brought us bicycle face.
Yeah.
Move the needle, my man.
That was good.
It was good.
That was good.
I'm
Real
glad you
good.
guys enjoyed it. Well, here's a crazy fact that I stumbled upon that I wonder if you guys will also share in the amazement. A lemon is not an actual fruit.
Really? I thought anything that had seeds, no?
No, it is a hybrid between a bitter orange and a citron, meaning the phrase life gave us lemons is incorrect because they are a crossbreed of two different species. Boom, no lemons.
Vicky, your thoughts on that? You look very disappointed, I would say.
No, I'm trying to analyze because
Was that a lemon
that
of
has
a
a
joke?
science twist to it, and I'll repeat. I'm a reading teacher, so I'm trying to process. What
I
he
know, but
says.
unfortunately, just because you're a teacher, you're kind of, it's all inclusive
Yeah.
So they
science,
took
math.
two different citruses and created a new one, lemons, and they became super popular.
Do you like it, Vicky?
It's a B.
Wow.
It's a B.
I agree.
You're still above
It's a
average.
B.
That's all I aim for. I go for that. I go for the bronze. Let's see. Here.
Still searching for that bicycle face, though.
Yeah. Well, what about this? In 1915, and I looked this up. In 1915, a woman was found alive after her sister was running late to her funeral, and they had buried the body. But she was so hysterical, she demanded to see her sister one more time, and they opened the coffin, and her sister sat up and went on to live 47 more years after that.
Interesting you bring that up. I was just reading something where this is kind of, it's not common, but it's happened before where people think they are burying a dead body and they are alive. If you look this up, this has happened
For sure.
on more than one occasion. How does that happen?
F that.
F that.
Oh my God.
Are you kidding
That's got to
me?
be like a worse fear.
But was she because of the time period? Was she in a coma and they didn't realize?
So it's 1915. Medicine is pretty primitive.
That's a great point. She's probably in
She's probably,
something.
just in a coma or something like
So-
that.
and then she woke up
yeah,
from
she
it.
woke up.
Oh my gosh.
And-
So think about all of the other times where they messed up because they thought someone was dead, but they were in a coma, and they buried them, and nobody heard them banging on the coffin.
Well, that's why they used to bury. They got to the point where they buried them. They had a string on their finger, and they had a bell
And they could-
that was out. So that's where you get the term dead ringer.
Yeah.
Because they would ring the bell, and the night shift came from the person who was in the cemetery who used to go around to see if the bells were ringing in order to get somebody to bury them to dig them back up.
How many bells were ringing? This was that common?
It was common enough for them to
For
make
sure.
a job
So-
and make a bunch of bells.
How are they diagnosing people with death? What were they doing?
Well, back then they had that doctor that carried the suitcase
the
and went to your
mirror?
house.
The mirror under the nose?
They would see if there was breath on the mirror. Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
insane.
They were using leeches.
Oh, just think about all of this shit back in the day that was situations that could have been prevented, but just because you didn't have the education, people died and crazy shit happened.
Same with court cases without the
Yes.
ability to have evidence like that we have now with forensics.
I mean, if this was the
Witch
1600s,
trials.
our beautiful
absolutely.
Vicky would be drowned because she's a witch. They
Oh,
think
yeah.
she's a witch.
Crazy.
Psychic powers, potions.
That would be the roughest.
Oh yeah, just
Just because
you
you're a female.
have a different thought. Yeah, you're a female that's opinionated. She's a witch.
So many women were burned just because a guy like broke up with her and didn't feel like dealing with it.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Oh, guaranteed.
Gosh.
Okay, that one was an A because look at how much conversation it
It
sparked.
led to conversation.
That's what it's all
Daniel.
about. Old
Yeah.
Zion.
Kind of a little
That's an A.
conversation piece.
That's an A.
All right, cool. What about this one? Bees don't buzz during an eclipse. So when in that more recent eclipse, they set up a bunch of microphones and a bunch of cameras to capture the footage of the eclipse. Using tiny microphones suspended among flowers, researchers recorded the buzzing of bees during the 2017 North American eclipse. The bees were active and noisy right up to the very last moments of totality. As totality finalized, the bees then started buzzing again.
Silence of the bees.
Yep.
They say when the bees go, so do the humans.
For
Is
sure.
that true?
Yeah.
Do we know that for a fact?
Yeah, well-
or is that just one of those factoids that people just
That's
say?
what pollinates everything that actually helps.
For
like-
sure. And honey has no expiration date. It literally lasts forever.
So there's
And that
a
was on Audible. That was off the cuff. Fun fact, right there.
Yeah, that was-
he didn't even look at his phone. He just rolled that off.
there is a speaker who has passed away who I love. Google him if you are into the spiritualism and kind of that kind of realm. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, very positive, very very good. Lived down here locally. And he talks about the bees and kind of goes into a whole thing, how we need the bees, and it's very interesting. It got me interested in reading about it and wanting to know. Damn, I didn't know how important bees were.
Yeah, it's
Everything's important.
You're right.
Anything that we mess up, we have to try to fix.
crazy. The bee's knees.
It's the bee's knees.
You should have let that hang.
The bee's knees.
Thanks for saving me, Denny.
Can we shock Beckett? All right, what else you got, Denny's?
Well, actually, I found that you would think this one's pretty interesting, Jaybird. Worker ants take hundreds of 1 to 2 minute naps per day, so they can essentially work around the clock. There is something similar in humans called polyphasic sleep. While many claim that polyphasic sleep was widely used by polymaths and prominent people such as Leonardo da Vinci, Napoleon, Tesla, there are few reliable sources supporting that view.
Oh.
Taking small naps and staying up essentially all day.
You've heard some stuff like that with when it comes to people like an Einstein or some of the more genius that would take small naps. You were talking
And
about
lots of walks.
Lots of walks, and you would argue, and I don't know if you guys ever experienced this. If you go out for a walk, especially at a time where you want to go out there, you're in kind of a good headspace, or you're maybe in a just kind of a deep thinking headspace. The weather's bearable. It almost does something like
It
a drug,
changes
like a
you.
drug-like effect. Do you guys have that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's a sweet smell to the air right before
Yes.
rain. Your hair stands up on your neck and your arms.
There's moments of clarity that you don't normally have, and it just kind of makes me feel like we should be out in nature more. There's something to that.
100%, without a doubt.
Well, we are one of nature.
Yeah.
We kind of like isolate ourselves from it, but in all actuality, I think we need it. We desire it.
I mean, we're always so obsessed with the rat race and
Building buildings.
You're building buildings and getting ahead in our career, and I don't know, man. Sometimes I wonder if we're just doing it
Money,
wrong.
fashion.
Yeah.
It's all, you just get caught up
when
in
you
it.
have those moments when you go out in nature and you do have that, and some people are going to hear this and go, "Bird, you sound like you're high," but there are moments you go out there, the sun's hitting the leaves perfectly. I don't know. It just all kind of, there's a clarity to it. It's weird.
Well, I'm doing this off the cuff as well, but there's an old article I read about the schedules of people who are considered creative people in history, and their schedule was very odd, and it was a lot of little naps, but their day would start usually around like 10 to 12. Like in the morning, because they would sleep in from the night before. They would go usually and get a big lunch. They would drink coffee, lots of coffee, a lot of them found, but they get a big lunch and then they would take a nap immediately after lunch. And it was like 3 to 4 was like a creative period for them where they could create. Then they would go and take a big dinner, drink alcohol, and they would usually stay up late, and then there was a second creative period.
And take a big 1700s dump from all that eating.
You can't even flush.
There was a second creative period in the nighttime. So there's what they're essentially doing is stretching their whole days out and basing it around those 2 creative periods in a day. I guess when you're content, or like, there's some clarity, 2 clarity moments they found.
Yeah. When do you find yourself at the most content? I know it's kind of a easy question and it's kind of like a benign question, but I think if you look into that, there's something to be said about each individual. What makes you legitimately happy and cozy where you don't have sweaty palms, your mind's not racing, you're not
It's got to be the weekend.
All right, for Beckett, this is Beckett's cozy
Weekend, so I don't have less anxiety usually outside of my busy season, which is in the summer. So like, give me like a Saturday, so you don't have the Sunday scaries. You ever had the Sunday scaries where Monday's coming?
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, and
right?
I think that's just
That's the worst.
ingrained in from school.
So give me a Friday night, give me a Saturday, off season, have a couple beers, so a little less inhibitions.
It's just getting very eyes wide shut.
Yeah. I'm still in.
That's it. I think I'm good.
Little skinny dipping with me and my bros.
Close to home.
See how far we can push it.
Put me in a hot tub.
All right. So the pressure of not having. Okay, I'm sorry. The
external things to do. Like,
yeah. When you have pressure, it's tough to be cozy and relaxed. All right. So for you, hanging out, drinking some beer, getting naked. All right, got you, Vicky. For you,
It is a Sunday when there's no school on Monday, and it's around 4:00, and there's a nice breeze.
4P, 4P or 4A. All right.
And there is a nice breeze, and you can hear the palms, pom-poms
swaying,
running, against each other, and knowing that I just turned that alarm off for Monday.
So basically, you're telling me your perfect day is you not having school the next day and you hearing palm trees.
Yes.
I love it.
And a nice breeze.
I love
That's
it. It's the simple things, baby. That's
all
what
it
it's
takes.
about. All right, Denny, what about you? Where you are at your ultimate coziness. I know me and you have the same kind of condition. When we are in it with whatever we're doing, whether it's the morning show or in a situation where we have to be kind of on, we have sweaty palms,
Oh,
we have
totally.
sweaty armpits.
Totally.
When is it where you don't have that?
It's got to be Saturday morning at like 10 a.m. because it's so early in the day, Nobody's up really yet. It's probably my favorite time. And the house has to be clean. It has to be clean, and there's got to be food.
So I'm noticing here that it's all simple things. That's all really people are looking for are small, simple things to be cozy and happy with.
100%.
No one said, I need, I got to be on a jet ski, blah, blah, blah. I got to be on a yacht.
Just need peace.
You just need peace, man.
Although I've never seen anyone not smiling on a jet ski.
Oh, for sure.
Ask somebody who's been in a jet ski accident, Beckett.
Have you been in a jet ski accident?
No, but I'm sure someone has been.
Up until that point, they
Insensitive
were
prick.
smiling.
All right, very good.
What about you, Bird?
Probably for me is I can relate to Beckett on the weekend, like a Friday or Saturday night when we don't have any kind of event. There's no show. There's no prep. There's no pressure the next day. And it's when me and you are able to just record music and not worry about anything. We're not trying to do anything for the
time
show.
crunch.
It's not even good. We're just two buds just messing around, having fun, getting lost in time. That's probably where I'm absolutely at my most
For sure.
peaceful, or if I'm doing it with my dad.
For sure.
Yeah. Good stuff, y'all. Vicky, scary story. Do we have anything?
Hey, Jay.
Yes.
Jay, sorry to interrupt. I got this creepy message from my neighbor. I'm going to have to take this call. I'm going to hop back in if I can. I was telling you about it before the show, but I'm going to hop out real quick, and I'll hop back in if I can. Sorry.
Well, hold on. What's wrong?
I don't know. Just some creepy stuff. I'm going to go check it out. I'll be right back in.
Creepy.
Hey, could you be a little bit more cryptic?
Creepy stuff.
Oh my gosh, gee. Okay, bye crossword puzzle.
He was scared of my story that I was going to tell. He had to get out of
That
here.
was weird.
Who's creepy texted him?
Creepy texting with his neighbor. What's Beckett? Is Beckett into some weird sex
don't
thing?
know.
I kind of start to get the feel like he's like Tom Cruise from like an Eyes Wide Shut.
You know, it's like neighbors taking photos of him through the window.
Yes,
and he
guys.
just-
There's a weird sex party in Palm Beach. I gotta go. I'm sorry. They're texting me.
he's got like a French mask on.
What was that? All right, Vicky, go on with your.
Okay, I don't know how I can beat that, but actually we did a cleansing this past Saturday, and typically in the cleansing I'm the good guy, the other person's the bad guy, and then human spirits come around me and they cross if they want to, whatever. Well, I'm sitting there, my eyes are closed, and this thing comes next to my chair. And if people didn't think I was crazy before, this will cement it. This is what this thing looked like to me. It looked like a cross between a spider, a crab, a grasshopper, and a mosquito.
Question, not to interrupt you, but was this like an entity of like a ghost, or did it look like it was real?
Like a tangible
It looked like
thing.
it was real, but it was in my mind's eye. So in other words, I could see this thing clearly. I knew where it was standing, but my eyes were closed. I wasn't looking directly at it.
For the audience, what is the mind's eye?
It's just what I visually see, and that's what I use like when I give readings. I look at my pictures are inside my head, not physically in front of me. Okay? So this thing took its back legs and it contorted them and put them over its front legs. And it had an elongated neck and it had a really ugly human-like head. And as the cleansing was going on, every once in a while it would take and it would flick its tongue at me.
Kind of like Gene Simmons.
Yeah, exactly.
Like was it a sexy tongue flickering?
No,
Okay.
it was I'm trying to creep you out kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't think you could ever do that tongue thing and it not be creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care who you take. It's gonna be creepy.
Have you ever seen a female do that tongue thing?
See, that's hot. Vicky, as you were.
So that's what I saw, and I did speak to a couple people, and a couple people confirmed that it matches a description of something that they know.
What
And,
was it that they knew?
Well, excuse me, our guest tonight says it's a demon, and my shaman said it is a Middle Eastern creature type thing.
Suits, if you can, let's go ahead and get the demonologist on. You're talking about the demonologist.
Right.
Funny enough, we have a demon type email.
Oh.
I'm going to read it to him. So go ahead, give us a little background on our guest tonight. We're going to be speaking to him via phone.
Okay, our guest tonight, his name is Rich Valdez. I've known him since 2007. He runs his own team. He specializes in violent haunts, which typically are demonic. He knows practically everybody in the field. He has had his own podcast and things like that. So he definitely, anytime I have a case that is in the least bit out of the ordinary, he's the person that I pick up and call.
So this is kind of like the mafia, Vicky. You're vouching for this guy is what you're telling me?
I'm vouching for this guy.
I love it. Well, Suits, who's running our KBJ TV tonight, he's getting him on the phone right now. Do you find when you do psychic stuff, do you find that you are dealing with a lot of demons usually? So if you have X amount of cases throughout the year, how many are related to a demon in your opinion?
Very seldom.
Seldom?
Very seldom. That's why it was unusual for me to be able to see this thing. I typically only see human spirits.
Why do you think you saw this?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. I know Rich says that I've had the ability to see these types of things all along. It just wasn't time for me to see them yet.
So we got Rich on the air right now. I'm just going to read this email before we put him on. It says, "Dear Weird and Whatever, my kid I think is possessed. She's clearly been taken over by what seems to be a demon. She did a seance at a graveyard, and ever since then, she's been speaking in tongues. She tries to drink deer blood, which is very bizarre.
Like Jaeger.
Yeah, and then she spits phlegm randomly at my wife and myself when she has a tough time expressing herself. This was a straight A student, and she's now failing in every class. This was literally after her doing the seance at the graveyard. This is possession, right? Okay, Rich Valdez, is that...
Yes.
Rich, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am.
Did you hear that email?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, sir, thank you for joining the Weird Whatever podcast. We appreciate you joining us.
It could be. I'm not going to say it is because due to training, we first have to go through a lot of protocols through the United States Old Catholic Church. Of course, doing a seance in what sounds to be a cemetery, and now attempting to drink blood and speaking in tongues. I mean, those could be signs of possession, but first and foremost, before the church could even take over, they would have to actually put her through rigorous testing, especially through me first. I would then have to have her consult, of course, with the permission of the parents, with a psychiatrist or a psychologist for a psych eval, and then go from there. Because there's a lot of things. Ever since the Annalise Miquel case back in the late '60s, early '70s, the church has actually taken a very, very staunch position when it comes to taking on just any person that says, "Hey, I'm possessed."
Okay, so that's my next question. I think a lot of people don't realize when it comes to this stuff, the Catholic Church is very much involved in it. So they're giving it validity. They're saying, yeah, possession is real. You need to go through our channels. If not, we're not gonna touch it. But what from what I've read, it sounds like the Catholic Church very much believes in this stuff. Could you confirm that?
Well, they do believe in it. At least I can speak for the Roman Catholic Church in the sense that I do know in Rome. Well, last time I checked, they have up to, I believe, 7,000 exorcisms a year. But for some strange reason here in the States, you're hard pressed to find a Catholic church that will believe that this individual is possibly possessed.
Okay, Rich, in your opinion,
get that help.
In your opinion, is the devil real?
I believe the devil is real. I believe, not whatever version that people have out there as a horned red figure. No. It's more along the lines of a fallen archangel. Yes, I do. And like the Bible says, a third of heaven fell that day to earth, not hell. And that's another misconception that a lot of people have, is that they believe that demons are in hell, the fallen angels are in hell. They're not. They actually walk amongst us.
So I've dated a few girls that I thought were demons. What constitutes what a real demon is? So, because we get emails all the time saying, "I think my daughter's possessed with a demon," or "We've got demons here." What's the difference between a regular haunting, a real life demon, or a kid just going through a goth phase?
There's not much of a difference, because usually goth phases, and mind you, I went through that myself too. You're pretty much rebelling against any kind of authority, especially parental authority. But oftentimes you have to look at it through the eyes of a child, or the eyes of even adults. Oftentimes, and you have to understand some type of psychology. Psych 101 is that which you do not understand, you fear. It's normal,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would like to get Vicky's opinion on that, and then have you follow up. For example, someone like a Ted Bundy, a Jeffrey Dahmer, are those people that are just messed up because there's a chemical imbalance, or is the demon or the devil, are they living in those people? Vicky, I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
I think it depends on the case. You'd have to look, and we talked about this last week when we talked about having the perfect storm of a person who has a mental disorder and has an environmental situation that brings them to commit their crime. And then you can add that other component if you think that they have been, exposed to something demonic, and then you have all three of those things acting in accordance. It would depend on whether they're going to give credence to say, I did it, or the devil. And a lot of your serial killers do not give credence to saying, oh, the devil made me do it. They want to take credit for their crimes. Now, whether they were influenced or not, that would have to be for somebody to study.
Because, I mean, we've gotten emails before, people saying the devil doesn't exist. I mean, I think these are people also that think God doesn't exist. They're saying, you guys,
Right.
It's just kind of a random shoot out there. It's, it's nature versus nurture, all that kind of psychology mumbo jumbo. Where's the proof that devils exist? Is the best case of a devil or a demon existing is that the that one story, the haunting, what's the one with not Emily Rose, but it's the
Conjuring,
the couple.
The Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Yes.
Well, it depends on their cases, too, because there's some controversy whether every single case that they're talking about actually involved a demonic presence. So that, again, would be up to... It's kind of like sometimes if my specialty is red cars, everywhere I look, I'm going to see a red car. That kind of concept. So, I haven't analyzed every single case. Do I believe that possession exists? Yes, I do.
Is it rare, though?
I feel it's fairly rare.
Rich,
and Rich actually told me years ago, and I use his quote, and I've used your quote many a time. You told me when we first met that coming across a demonic case was like winning the lottery twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I'll correct you, Vicky. It's like winning the lottery 3 times in 1 month. But it has been years since I told you that.
Yeah.
Regardless, she's correct. It's very, very rare. Just to throw a little analogy in there, it's the equivalency of someone that's had a headache for 3 weeks straight. They go to a doctor. They've already convinced themselves that they have a tumor, and they go to the doctor. They get their MRI done, and the results come back, nothing's wrong, and come to find out it's stress related. So they send them to yoga or meditation classes, and before you know it, the headache starts going away. Oftentimes we tend to, and this is how we are, it's psychology 101. We tend to think the worst before we think of the best. So this is usually what happens. In a situation where you just, mentioned right there with the email, it could very well be. A lot of kids don't understand nowadays that even playing with a Ouija board, which you could, readily buy, well, back in the day, now that Toys R Us have closed down, at a Toys R Us or a toy store, you don't know what you're messing with, and you don't know what you're conjuring forth. So oftentimes we would get, and I can speak for Vicky when I say this, she'd get plenty of cases of people playing with Ouija boards or pendulums or simply doing little conjuring spells out of spell books. And next thing you know, they just conjured up a big bad, and we got to be the ones to come in and, consult and help or bring the clergy in.
So Rich, we have a skeptic here, Denny's, who probably does not believe in Ouija boards. He would think that if you played with the Ouija board, it's just a silly game from Mattel. Denny's, when you hear someone like Rich spouting off about Ouija boards and demons, what's your thought on that? Being a man, probably not convinced.
With Ouija boards, yeah, I mean, I feel like you can only invite in what you believe in. So, I mean, if you're not into it, it's probably not going to conjure a demon of any sort to you.
Do you think it's more, no matter what you put, if you're messing with a Ouija board, it's all going to be in your mind? You're going to think all these things are happening because you've put that in your mind? It's not really demons at work.
Yeah, I mean, it could be psychosomatic. Absolutely.
I don't think you believe in demons is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not too much into the demons. I mean, I'm not against the concept of a demon, but personally, no, I don't believe in demons. But that's only just because I've never had experience with it.
There you go.
It would be tough for me to...
Rich, how many cases in your life would you say you've dealt with legit demons?
In 30 years that I've been doing this, only 5.
Wow. Okay. Vicky is right.
They're very, very rare. Actually, as of this year, 6. But just to go off of what he said, usually, and Vicky, you can verify this, how many cases have you had and I have had where people were like, look, I don't know what's going on. We're creatures of habit. You wake up in the morning, you do what you do in the morning, and all of a sudden something, breaks you out of that habitual thing or that routine. And that one thing scares you enough to say, okay, you know what, it was possibly my imagination. You run down the long list of possible things it could have been until you're finally saying, okay, there are things moving in my house and either I'm losing my mind or I just have no answers for this. Those are the ones that never believed until it happens to them, that end up calling Vicky or my team.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Very, very good.
Because the difference between a skeptic and a believer is that one experience. That's all it takes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Rich, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. If anyone is suffering with what they think is a demon possession, is there a number we can, call you so you can maybe help them out?
I could actually recommend the Paranormal Clergy at yahoo.com, or just go to the website paranormalclergy.com. And I'm one of the co-directors there. I work with Bishop James Long and other priests as well that actually aid with teams and individuals that have dealt with the paranormal and have actually come across the big bats.
Rich Valdez, I apologize for butchering your name. Rich Valdez,
No
demonologist. Thank you so much for joining the Weird and Whatever podcast. Very interesting stuff. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Very good booking, Vicky. You had some interesting things to say.
I actually have to give Rich credit because he was one of the first people that I worked with who walked me through one of my first psychic experiences. And then he worked with me a few years after that first one and did some tests. We ran some tests to see where my ability lies, and then things just opened up from there. So I always give him credit for being, you have to have that one thing that sparks an event, and he was the one person that sparked the real awakening of my psychic ability.
Very cool.
Real well spoken.
I love that. I also want to call this one number. There's this, for people who suffer from insomnia like myself, there is this number you can call that it's free, and it gives you 9 or 10 weird options just to kind of pass the time. And I really do suffer from terrible insomnia. Have you guys ever gone through bad bouts of insomnia?
I wouldn't call anything I've ever experienced like to the full-blown of calling it insomnia. I wouldn't.
Really? Yeah. Night terrors, no?
Nope.
Like consistently? Denny's,
Nope.
you?
There was a period, probably about maybe a year and a half, that I had some real bad insomnia. But I think it was a lot of like personal things going on. I also was drinking a lot. I think it makes it hard to sleep. I don't think I was hitting REM. So I was having a hard time, I was kind of like drifting. I don't know. It was weird.
So you're basically on a bender is what you're telling me. I love it. Yeah, so if you are suffering from insomnia, and I think you've even said it too before, Vicky, if you are someone that suffers from insomnia, you are more likely to have a ghost encounter.
Right, because you're actually awake for it. And it's usually a lot of times activity in your home will increase at a certain time. Some people believe it's because you have the dew point coming into play and that the water is conducive for activity. Some people believe it's simply because the earth at that point and the people around you, most people are asleep, and it makes it easier for spirits to change their frequency in order to be able to interact with you.
Choose from one of the following menu options. Press star to return to the main menu at any time.
Okay,
This is that menu.
Yeah.
Press 1 to hear the relaxing sounds of the ocean.
Ooh.
So that's
Press
one.
2 to listen to wind chimes blowing in the wind.
That's a good one.
All right.
Press 3 to travel back in time to the 1990s.
Oh.
Press 4 to undergo hypnosis. Press 5 for a motivational speech.
Ooh.
Press 6 to speak with the grandma who misses you. Press 7 to learn the history of the cocktail wiener.
All right.
Press 8 to hear Jaleel White sing you a lullaby.
That's Steve
Press
Urkel.
9 to merge into the conference call with the marketing team that came up with this ridiculous idea.
I'm going with 6, Grandma.
All right.
They could hire Denny's for the one with the cocktail weenie one. It's a random
Now
fact.
you don't look like you've been eating. I should make you a nice casserole. It's cold out. Wearing a scarf. Here, have some banana bread. I made it for your grandfather fresh last week. It's still good. It's still good. He loves it. We love you. I don't hear from you anymore. I don't hear, but I know you're good. Your mother says you're good. And, if you want to call your grandma, here, I'm going to heat up.
I can't do it anymore.
That's pretty hilarious. So what? It just has random options.
Yeah,
What
you
is
have,
this thing?
You have all these options. So you call this number at nighttime when you're suffering from insomnia. Is she still going?
Much. I'm going to heat up some soup for you.
Yeah. So you call this number
And you
up,
just listen?
and it's all these weird options to kind of get you through your insomnia, which is kind of cool because if you do suffer from insomnia, you'll know that you feel like you're the only person alive on the planet.
I used to be so tired,
Oh,
and
it's
I
the worst.
couldn't fall asleep. I was like, why can't I sleep?
It is the worst.
How long do you have to not sleep before it's considered insomnia?
I
I'd
would
say it
s-
has to be semi-chronic. I'd
Yeah.
say at least like mine was like a year and a half of like no sleeping.
Yeah, for example, for one given week, I would say out of the 7 days, I suffer from insomnia 4 out of the 7, at least, to where if I go under, I wake up really quick and then can't get back to sleep, and then I'm up just being a maniac, or I just can't get to sleep, and I'm very, very tired. I'm so tired to the point where I want to go under, but my mind will not let me actually go to sleep. It's so bizarre, actually.
What about sleep aids? Do you ever try them? Or
Ugh.
sleepy time tea or
Hate
anything
it.
like that?
All that stuff makes me. It's weird. All of that stuff makes me go half asleep and half awake.
Ew,
So
I hate
I'll
that.
go under. For example, like a Sominex. Half of my body will be in a coma, and the other half of me is wide awake.
Yeah.
So I'm in this weird hybrid state.
Yeah,
Awful.
I had this weird state where I called it like loud dreams, where I must be asleep because I'm dreaming, but the dreams are so loud and interactive, I feel like I haven't been sleeping.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Can we talk about really quick Beckett? What happened to Beckett?
I guess he's not coming back.
Did he leave his stuff?
Well, I think this is your stuff.
Oh
isn't
yeah, I
it?
think he just jumped on Virginia's headphones.
So he said something happened with his house. His neighbor called him.
He said his neighbor's creepy or something.
His neighbor's creepy, and then he just left. That was bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll clearly have to figure out what happened.
Can somebody text Beckett, please? See if he's okay?
Lindsley will.
All right. Thank you, Lindsley. That's your daughter.
Yes, that's my daughter.
Nailing it as the associate producer.
Woo-woo.
That was kind of odd. I mean, was that relationship with Beckett?
I don't know, because I thought he said there's some kind of creepy situation going on.
Unless he's making
With the
up
neighbor.
something to sneak out for like a relationship.
It's because he
thing.
didn't like that beer you got him.
Yeah.
That's it. He had to find an excuse to get out of here and get a real one.
Bitch boy Beckett. Let's do a little would you rather.
All right.
Would you rather never die or die immediately after this podcast?
Oh, jeez. I mean, I think everybody's gonna say the same thing.
But you're living till thousands of years. Your loved ones are gone. You do not have quality of health. You are alive. Your kidney is bleeding. Your eyes are not working.
Yeah, I think everybody would still do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would take a while to get to that.
Well, if
point,
you just
think.
died unexpectedly leaving, like you have no finality, you have no, you haven't talked to anyone.
We'll talk about it next week on the podcast.
It'll continue on.
Just know the concept of
What would you pick?
of never dying. I'm never gonna die.
Exactly.
I don't know the concept of living forever with quality of life. Do you love it?
I mean, there's a point. I mean, we're talking.
If you stay
Everybody has a different threshold.
if you stay 30 years old, like whatever you deem as the prime of your
but
life.
That's not the issue. The issue is things that you love are gonna lose their luster.
But if you have the gift of gab, you know how to talk to people. You learn. You
But
make
you probably
friends
get-
everywhere.
You get tired of it. You would be like, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for 600 years.
You get tired of
People are always the same.
No matter what, you get tired of the awesomeness of planet Earth. Eventually, you run out of ideas and passion for Earth.
I doubt you lose the passion for the planet. I think you lose the passion for
The bullshit.
people. Yeah,
It's the people,
the society, and because you're gonna live through so many completely different changes. Like people can't even handle changes in their own lifetime. Like you're handling like 5 or 6 lifetimes worth of changes. That's gotta rattle you.
But you could keep yourself busy. Like every year you move to a new city that would take you a while to cover every single city in the entire world.
But then you're like the people from Twilight, where you have to like make up all these stories. You're always like going different high schools.
And do you get to the point where, and I don't mean this as a pessimistic statement, I really don't, But let's say you're 150 and you've gone all over the world. Do you go at some point and say, all right, is this as good as it gets? I get it. There's a mountain. There's beautiful clouds. It's really all Earth's got to offer. Do you get to a point where you just can't get excited for things anymore?
I would say so, unless like with technology, there were things that were invented that become exciting and new as they're invented. That might
So
be an
inventions
option.
would be the way to keep your mind.
Right, because that would be the only thing that would change in your world is, kind of, you would change your people and maybe where you're living, but the technology would be the only thing that may go, oh, wow, we didn't have that last year.
It's like that part in that movie, As Good as It Gets. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Jack Nicklaus.
Where he said that line he said.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's walking out of the doctor's office and everyone's in there for their mental health. They're all at the doctor trying to feel better and feel peaceful. And I guess he didn't like what his doctor had to say, so he's walking out and he just looks at everybody and says, what if this is as good as it gets?
Dude, that's such a good movie.
Well, I mean, it's a sobering thought, too.
Oh, totally.
What if it's as good as it gets? Which isn't a bad thing.
No. It's all perspective.
It is all perspective, for sure. Okay, would you rather have sex with an animal or a parent?
What kind of animal?
I mean, the sexiest kind, Denny, is a horse.
Like a fine ass, like steed.
A sweet ass horse, Denny. Or one of those hot ass.
That makes a difference.
One of those hot ass sheep you've been talking about.
Dude, I'm just saying.
Just the fact that you have to go to bed every night knowing you had sex with an animal. It doesn't matter what animal, Denny's.
Well,
is there an animal that's better?
Well, parent, I know there's only two to choose from, so.
Can it be somebody else's parent?
No, it's got to be your own parent or an animal. What do you pick?
It's an animal.
You go animal.
Yeah.
I gotta go animal.
I gotta go animal too, man. I'm so sorry for that sweet ram.
I don't even care if it's a crocodile. Whatever.
All right, I think we all.
You ever seen crocodiles make love?
Don't ever say that again. Don't use the term make love. I hate that term. Oh my god.
They tangle up.
Oh.
And then the male tickles the female with his toe.
Yeah, no, it's hot.
Right at their cloaca.
Okay, I'm making a rule right now. We can never use the term make love.
All right, I gotcha. I'll switch it up.
I hate that term. Doesn't that term make you feel weird?
Yeah.
Me and her, we made love to each other. I hate it.
I was trying to clean it up. I was talking about alligators.
All right. Would you rather cuddle with a dead body for the rest of your life, meaning every time you go to bed, you are cuddling with a dead body, or with a gigantic cactus plant?
Oh.
And it's the big kind. We're talking the Zona kind.
Dead body.
Who's
You
the
take
dead body?
You take dead body.
Dude,
Who's the dead
cactuses
body?
are so painful.
The dead body is of a random human every single night. It could be all different.
Oh, a different one.
Different creeds and all of it.
Are they decomposing yet?
They are freshly dead, meaning
Oh, all right.
Okay.
so. But that's even debatable. It's within the first three years of their decomposing.
Well, I
So
mean-
one night it could be a fresh body. One night it could be bones, baby.
Yeah. Powder.
It could be powder. It could be half
Dust.
bones, half bod, depending on.
I still
where
pick body.
You pick body over
Yeah,
cactus?
you can't sleep with a cactus, man.
Hell no! I am going cactus. I'll take the pain.
Yeah, I'll figure out
No
how to cuddle
way.
that cactus.
But
Dude,
you have
I
to.
barely touched the cactus, and it completely made me believe.
You'd eventually get numb to it.
You gotta cuddle it naked. Got to cuddle it naked, and sometimes the cactus got to cuddle you too. If
Dead
you know what I
body.
mean.
Dead
body? No way. All right, Suits. Dead body or cactus? Dead body? Are you shitting
Yeah.
me? You guys are insane. Oh my
Nah, I couldn't
God.
do a cactus.
No way. Okay, would you rather Netflix and chill with an alien or a ghost? Meaning you're going all the way with one of them. And and we're talking, you're doing everything under the sun.
Is it an ET alien?
I
or
mean,
is it
Denny's.
like a,
your butt stuff's being done.
or what? Or a ghost? What kind of?
Or-
Is there some weird ghost? Is it like a?
Which one do you pick?
Is it like an Undertaker's ghost?
No,
or something?
ghost. That is mean, and an alien that's disgruntled.
I pick the ghost.
You pick the ghost. Vicky, you got to go ghost,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
I go alien.
Oh, we know that.
Oh, yeah. Wine me, dine me, 69 me. All right. Last, would you rather? Would you rather solve every cold case that ever existed for murder and missing people, or have your entire family go missing, never to find out what happened to them? So you're basically, you solve every missing case, every murder case. All these families have resolution, or you're the one that gets none. All of your family members are gone, and you have no idea what happened to them. Which one do you pick?
What's the caveat?
Yeah, because there's no reason not to choose finding all the missing people.
Well, because you don't know if you go home to your house.
Oh, okay. So our family members are missing.
They're gone.
They're already
we
missing.
can either find just them or every
or
Yes.
find everybody else.
Either your family goes missing forever, you never know what happens, or you guys solve every missing case and murder case that's ever happened.
I gotta find my family.
Very selfish, Vicky.
I know.
Denny's, you could do a lot of good. You could help a lot of people. A lot of people. Are you going to be selfish like Vicky?
It's so hard. I'd probably
You're
have
a
to
hero.
save the family. What do you pick there?
Oh man, I got to be selfish. There's no way I could. I can't give up my family. There's no way.
What
do you do?
Yeah, same thing. It's such a mean question.
Denny's Suits. Family. All right, you pick your family. All right.
Yeah,
I think he said screw the other people. All right, interesting. Yeah,
it's tough, man.
You could do a lot of good though.
Yeah, I know.
I do want to remind people to go to our Facebook page. Please keep the Maurice Jefferson story, the missing cold case we've been talking about from 1984 here in South Florida. We really want to highlight missing people, whether they're children or adults, cold case murders. If you have a case here in South Florida, email us. Let us know. We've been spending a lot of time on Maurice Jefferson. I'd like to get more people talking about that. So please, if you could, Google Maurice Jefferson. His family definitely deserves answers. You guys have anything you want to plug? We're about an hour right now. You want to go ahead and end this biatch?
Let's wrap her up. We'll try to get to the bottom of what the heck's going on with Beckett.
What's up with your boy Beckett? Bitch, hashtag save bitch boy. You know what? He had to do that Halloween test.
Yeah, that's why he skipped. That's another reason.
So you think this is an act? This isn't real?
I mean, he legitimately something did come over his phone, but he could have told his buddy, "Hey, listen, at such and such time, I need you to fake a phone call."
You think he would do that
To get out of a test?
You
I don't
think
know.
or is he really going
I
through
don't
some
know.
shit?
How much did that shot collar really hurt?
I don't know. We got a cliffhanger, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning into the Weird Whatever podcast. Please like, share, do all that stuff that people, hoard themselves out for. We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.